What's going on, Jerome? So the NFL trade deadline is coming up on November 5th, and you know that the Minnesota Vikings and general manager Kwesi adofo-mensah are just like, because we know that Kwesi loves to wheel and deal at the deadline, and something's going to get done, right? The Vikings could use a little depth, a little bit of freshening at cornerback, defensive tackle, to your offensive line, running back 2 or 3. Right. So even though the Vikings do have a deep-ass roster, there's always ways to get better, and that's why I love and respect about Kwesi is that he's not scared about doing that. ESPN, the worldwide bleeder of viewers, put together a modest proposal 2024 NFL trade deadline players to watch, team needs, and rumors. And this is what they wrote about the Minnesota Fighting Vikings. Vikings 5-1, allegedly. 78.4% to make the playoffs. All right. Projected first-round draft slot 27, but it's going to be 32. And Aaron Schatz, formerly Football Outsiders, a key position need defensive line. Yeesh. Adding, subtracting, or sitting it out. And Jeremy Fowler, ESPN's predicting that they're going to sit it out. Whatever. He doesn't know Kwesi, apparently. Not many teams are better positioned than the Vikings, who have a winning formula and key players everywhere. The depth chart does not feature many obvious trade candidates. Adding running back Cam Akers from Houston fortified the running back depth. To say that they have another move in them doesn't feel like a slam dunk. He doesn't know. Linebacker Brian Asamoah II is a former day 2 pick who's not in the defensive rotation, so perhaps a team that loved him in the 2022 draft makes a call. And with Asamoah, is another member of that 2022 draft class, which but Asamoah felt like he's always had potential, but injury issues as well as the off-ball linebacking room is stacked up in front of him. So you got Pace and Cashman, Grugier, Hill. It's pretty noteworthy that even when Pace was injured early in the season, he didn't get a sniff of the field on defense. And when Cashman was injured on Sunday and missed the game, it was Grugier, Hill a little bit. It was Diamond Dallas Turner, as well as it was Josh Metellus at off-ball instead of Asamoah. So that is pretty telling. Yeah, he's a decent special teamer, but if a team comes in and offers a pick for Asamoah, I think that he could be safely moved, because also even if there is more attrition at the linebacker spot, Gant from the UDFA from Toledo/Ohio State, they like a lot, as well as Calvin Munson has experience with Brian Flores and is a solid core special teamer. So Asamoah certainly could be moved. Then who could be on the move? Cornerback Caleb Evans. Evans started 2 games as a rookie in 2022 and 15 last season, although he's literally benched 17 times. Yeah, but is now buried on the depth chart behind veteran Stephon Gilmore, Murph, and Shaq Griffin. At 6'2", $198, he has the kind of size that teams covet at the position. The Vikings aren't necessarily looking to move him, but he could be elevated based on injuries. But at the moment, he is in a clear path for him to get on the field. That's from Kevin Seifert, ESPN, who's not Carl Gerbschmidt. And Evans, who has been dealing with a hip issue the last couple weeks. I mean, it clearly is cornerback 4 right meow behind the aforementioned Gilly, Griff, and Murph, as well as you do have Nudie McLaughlin waiting in the wings, the UDFA who made the 53, and frankly I think that Nudie is a little bit more competitive than Evans, which you hate to say it. It just feels like Evans isn't a scheme fit for what Flores wants to do on the outside, and hence his demotion. Also, hasn't played great on special teams this year, but teams absolutely love the size on the outside, and he has had flashes in the last couple seasons. So I think that Evans could certainly be a player that would be moved. And lastly, our guy Benjamin Solak talked about who they could go get. So of course we want the pie in the sky. We want the Jeffrey Simmons. We want the Quinnen Williams. We want the Dexter Lawrences of the world. But if the Vikings can't get a blockbuster deal done, don't say it's like bargain basement deals, but something similar. Which players should they target? Broncos defensive tackle DJ Jones. Jones has been a handy player for a quality Broncos defense, so I'm not sure how gettable he is right now, but he is a veteran in the last year of his deal, so it's worth making the call. Vikings fans are hoping for Jeffrey Simmons or Dexter Lawrence second, but Jones will give the stout and reliable nose tackle play they need at a fraction of the cost. So I've gone back and forth. So DJ Jones has been solid. Started his career with the Niners, last couple seasons with the Broncos. Signed a 3-year, $30 million deal in 2022. Is in that final season of that deal, and he's approaching 30. So this isn't a long-term play, but frankly, I think that he's just a not as good version of Harrison Phillips. Like, he's solid against the run, doesn't really bring a ton as a pass rusher. 2 sacks in last fistful of seasons, none this year, and only 5 pressures this season. So it's not exactly what the Vikings are looking for. Again, even if it's not Jeffrey Simmons or Quinnen Williams or Dexter Lawrence, that there's a type. Like, the Vikings need some interior pass rush to take a little pressure off of having the blitz so much. And Jones doesn't really bring that. Also, contract-wise, like, I mean, the Broncos' defense is balling right now, so they probably won't move Jones in the first place. And secondly, they probably won't eat any of his salary. And he's got a $9.5 million base salary. Vikings have to have half of that on their cap prorated, so it doesn't really make a ton of sense. Now, obviously, dream. I do feel like there are other options out there besides, the top 3 guys, the 3 wise men that we really want. But I don't know, like, it's good to think outside the box. And like, Jones wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but it doesn't really fit the gestalt of what the Vikings are looking for in this spot. But also, it's interesting that they pointed out that Asuma and or Caleb Evans could be available, because that's something I've been thinking about for the last couple of weeks. Maybe we'll do up a video like Vikings who could be traded at the deadline, and we'll just try to trade Patrick Jones second for a 17,000th time, even though he's balling out, man. Gotta love it. But your thoughts are thoughts. ESPN has several humble trade suggestions for the Vikings. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts, their thoughts. Comment section, you know what to do. Skol, production value.